Sports, a place where many athletes find success.
This is likely the final play that matters. End zone wide open. What a night for Mike Williams.
But where there's a winner, there has to be a loser.
He came a long way. You hear me? Come here, I love you, bro. Good.
It's one thing to watch the game, but another to analyze it. Let's talk about the numbers. You ready? YouTube! What's going on, man? Back at again with another video. It's your boy, Numbers Fan J. And we're not going to waste no time today. I thank y'all for tuning in again to Football 101. If you haven't been watching, please, I'm leaving everything in the Football 101 playlist so that you can catch up if you haven't seen the other episodes, if you don't know anything about the game of football, if you want to learn some more about it, or maybe you have questions about something, please feel free to ask me in the comments. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the content of this video. Good evening, class. We are back at it again. This is the basic offense continued. I know we covered basic offense in our last class, but I want to expand upon that, talk a little bit more about the offensive side of the ball, get a little bit more in depth. So let's talk about it. So let's start off by expanding upon the rule we talked about having 7 people on the line of scrimmage. Of course, as a reminder, the line of scrimmage is the yard line that the ball is on. So for example, one more time, if the ball is on the 35-yard line, nobody on the offense can be past that yard marker at all. So those people that have to be on the line include the 5 offensive linemen that we covered in the last video: the left tackle, the left guard, the center, the right guard, and the right tackle. Now, in addition to those 5 people, 7 minus 5 is 2, so that means 2 more people have to be on the line. That could be anybody, any position that is put on the field, essentially. So even if you're a quarterback, you can line up on the line in a different spot outside of the line of scrimmage. The quarterback himself does not count as somebody that's on the line of scrimmage if he's lined up behind the center. Now, like I just said, he can line up on a different spot outside of anybody on that offensive line. But the people we usually find lined up on the line of scrimmage, besides the 5 offensive linemen, you can put an extra offensive lineman in there as well. But usually those people play the positions as follows: the wide receiver, the tight end, or even a running back if the running back is split out wide. Now, so that leaves you with different variations of positions that you can have on the line of scrimmage. You can put 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage. You can put a tight end and receiver. You can put a wide receiver and another wide receiver. You can put a running back and a wide receiver. However you want to do it, just make sure that there's 7 people lined up with the ball. So where does everybody else line up? So everybody else, the 4 remaining people, will line up off of the ball, what we call it. There are several different spots. One of them, very famously known, is called the slot receiver position. This position is outside of the offensive tackle. It could be on either side, the right side or the left side. Remember, we have 2 different tackles, right tackle and left tackle. But you will often see a receiver in between the tackle and maybe another receiver split out wide. So I'll give you an example. You have your 5 offensive linemen, your quarterback is behind the center, so that's 6 people. You have a slot receiver. He's not on the line of scrimmage, but he's maybe a yard or 2 behind it. He's also about 4 to 5 yards outside of the tackle, the right tackle or left tackle. It depends on where the ball, which hashtag the ball, which hash mark the ball is lined up on. So if the ball is on the left hash mark and you want to put somebody in the slot on the right side, maybe they're more like 7 to 8 yards outside of the tackle. And I'll give you guys a picture of this on the screen so that you can see more of what I'm talking about. But so you have to have 7 people on the line of scrimmage, or else there's going to be a flag thrown that is a penalty. For the life of me, I can't think of how many yards that penalty is. I want to say it's 5, just like an offsides penalty. You also lining up offsides is the same thing as lining up ahead of the ball. For either side of the ball, it's a 5-yard penalty. But we'll get into that later. But anyway, so 7 people on line of scrimmage is a requirement to play the game of football on offense. Going more into depth on the positions that I just named earlier. So starting off with the wide receiver, probably the most well-known position by kids, by adults, by anybody that watches the game of football. This is the flashy position. This is the position that gets paid the big bucks outside of the quarterback. This is the position that gets glorified. You want to, as kids, we all wanted to catch those game-winning touchdowns. As time expires, we want to be the hero of the game. We've seen it multiple times: Super Bowls, playoff games, regular season games, even catching touchdowns. These are the guys that do it. These are the guys that do it most of the time. Wide receivers, they line up outside of the tackle somewhere most of the time. They can also line up a little further out than the slot receiver, but receivers can line up in the slot as well. They're also responsible for blocking. So some offensive systems require you to block more than others. Shout out Coach Kitty, we blocked a lot of your system. But they do a lot of run blocking. Sometimes they do pass blocking if they are lined up inside closer to the offensive tackle. They will run block if needed. They will pass block if needed, excuse me. They usually do run block about half the time. But pass blocking, very rare for the wide receiver position, but it does happen. You get wide receiver screens. You get, after a wide receiver catches the ball, another wide receiver can come block for him down the field. But 2 responsibilities for the most part for wide receivers: catching and blocking. On trick plays, yet again, another kind of weird situation. That's why trick plays are so fun to watch. Wide receivers can also run the ball, and they can also throw the ball. Of course, they run with it after they catch it, but they could also be handed the football in the backfield. So that's just something to think about. Tight ends, another position that I named. These are bigger guys, and in today's game, they're more like bigger receivers. Used a lot more in the passing game. They are responsible for blocking as well, but they are more responsible for run blocking and pass blocking than receivers are. So like I said, they're much bigger guys. They started off as offensive linemen, the extra offensive linemen on the line of scrimmage that can catch the ball, but they're more and more becoming just larger receivers. So you get your guys like Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Delaney Walker, just thinking of tight ends, Hunter Henry, bunch of tight ends out there, Rob Gronkowski, I know y'all know who that is. But tight ends, responsible for catching and blocking, more pass blocking and more run blocking than wide receivers. Running backs, this was a position that I played a lot when I was younger. Actually the first position that I learned how to play in Little League. Running backs run the ball. That's their primary responsibility. Is quarterback snaps the ball, he hands it to the running back, or maybe trick formation comes out, what we call the wildcat, when the running back is lined up behind the center as the quarterback and he receives the ball from the center. He can then, do everything that the quarterback can do. He's just more athletic, of course, because running backs are usually faster, usually stronger than quarterbacks. So running backs are responsible for running the ball. They can also catch the ball. They're also responsible for blocking, pass blocking, as well as run blocking sometimes depending on the play. So running back has a lot of responsibilities. As you can see, some of these responsibilities overlap. For example, pass blocking. Everybody except the quarterback usually has to pass block at some point during the game, whether you be running back, receiver, tight end. Usually you have to pass block at some point. But running back, clearly a lot more responsibilities than the other two if you add on running the ball and you throw in how you run the ball, how you protect the ball, when to run outside, when to run inside. It's a lot of different things that go into it. Other than the quarterback, I would say the running back is the next skill position that has the next most responsibilities. Then I'll probably go into wide receiver and then tight end. But that's all I'm gonna leave y'all with today. So take a minute. I know there's a lot of information right there. But this is going to be the end of basic offense. So you've now learned everything basic on the surface level about the offensive line. You've learned about the receivers. You learned about the tight ends. You've learned about the running backs. You've learned about the quarterbacks. You've learned about play call. So we know basic offense right now. We're not into, schemes. We're not into vertical schemes or, quarterback options. RPOs. We're not into none of that right now. If y'all want to know more about that, please leave that in the comments. Let me know if you want to see that in a future video. But for right now, it's your boy Jay. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for your boy. We're trying to get to 200 subs. I just got another subscriber today. I'm up to 134. So let's go, man. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. I know we can get there. It's your boy Jay. We out of here.